Okay, so what are we making tonight? Well, as usual, I'm going to make something a little bit different than the norm. I was going to make like a beef Oscar, but I couldn't get fresh asparagus, so I'm still going to make a similar dish. We're going to use eye steak with crab meat and béarnaise sauce, and we're going to dredge it. I'll show you how we're going to do that. But we're also going to make some Dutch's potatoes with that. So let's get started. I'll show you what we're going to need, and we'll get cooking. Bon appetit. All right, well, let's go over the ingredients quick. Of course, we're going to need our steak, our crab meat, and I've already picked this so there's no shells in it, some dried chives, butter, Old Bay, a little Dijon mustard, a couple of eggs. I'm just going to use a béarnaise sauce mix. And for the Dutch's potatoes, I'm going to use dehydrated potatoes and a little bit of baking powder to give it a little bit of fluff. And I think we're going to do the Dutch's potatoes first because they're going to actually take longer than the steak. That's not going to take long at all. So I'm going to heat the oven up and let's start making our potatoes. Now I'm just going to make our potatoes right in this bowl here. And to melt our butter, just going to add a little bit of water in here to help melt the butter. We're going to use approximately 2 tablespoons of butter. A spoon of baking powder, just to give it a little leavening. A little salt. Now technically we ought to use white pepper in this, but I don't have white pepper on board, so I'm just going to still add a little crushed black pepper. We all know what it is. So we mix that up. Very nice. I've got 1.5 cups of flakes in here. So we're going to use 1/2 cup of water. Now technically, again, we should use milk or heavy cream, but we don't have that on board. So here we are. We've got our cup of liquid. We're going to add an egg. Going to add a few of our dried chives. Mix that up. We want this to be kind of thick. I don't have a pastry bag or tube on board. Now you see that might be a little too thick. I gotta add a little more water. Alright, now this looks just about the way I want it to. And I wound up adding another 3/4 cup of water, so that was 1 3/4 cups altogether. Now we'll plate them up to go in the oven. And again, since I don't have the pastry tube, which is okay, we're just going to form these a little bit. Use my hands here, guys. There, I'm just going to make a nice little ball with it. So we try to get those as even as we can, but since I don't have a pastry bag, I'm just going to give them a little bit of shape here. I'm going to just take my fork, make a couple of little indents in it. And now we'll bake these for about 10 minutes at 400 degrees. Might not be quite 10 minutes. We just want to brown them because they're really already cooked. We just want to get that egg cooked and fluff them up a little bit. And now let's make our crab mix. We want to really taste the flavor of the crab meat, so we're not going to put a lot of different spices on this. We are going to put the rest of our dried chives. A little bit of Dijon mustard, not a lot. See, just a little bit. Touch of Old Bay. That's good. Then we're going to mix that up lightly. We're not going to beat the heck out of it. And this is going to go over the top of our steak, and then the béarnaise sauce on top of that. Well, we'll get our béarnaise sauce ready to go, and it's basically just 1 cup of water, or butter, or milk would be better. Going to add our butter to it, about 1/4 of a stick. That looks good right there. And then 1 package of sauce mix. And next I'm going to get our dredging batter ready for the steak. And I know I forgot to mention a little bit of flour, maybe a couple tablespoons, and a little bit of water, our egg, touch of salt, a little bit of black pepper, and we whisk that together. Alright, let's check our potatoes. It's been about 12 minutes. And yeah, these look good. This is going to be good, just like this. We're going to set these on a plate and keep them warm. So now our next step is going to be to cook the beef. And what we're going to do with that, get the pan hot, as usual. Put a little bit of olive oil in the pan, get it nice and hot. I'm also going to turn the oven on. We're going to preheat the oven to about 350. What we'll do is, after we get the steak cooked, we're going to pan that up and put our crab meat on top of it. Put that in the oven to heat the crab meat up. And while that's heating, we're going to finish the béarnaise sauce. Now, I did add just a little more flour to our mix here. You can see I've got it a little thicker. I had it just a touch thin. Alright, oh, see how nice and hot that is already? It doesn't take long with this nice stove. Alright. And what we want to do, put all the meat in here at once. But basically, we just want to get a nice little coat on this. We don't want it too thick. There, just like that. See how nice and thin that is? Cook it quick. These are thin steaks. It's not going to take long to cook this. There we go. Now we've got our meat cooked. We're just going to put our crab meat on top of that. It's a nice pile of crab meat. Now we've got our crab meat on there. I think what we're going to do is put a couple of our potatoes on, just to reheat them a little bit. We can arrange those in here. There we go. Our oven is hot. We're just going to pop these in the oven for about 10 minutes. Okay, so now you see we've got that. It's come to a boil. That's all we need. We shut that off, and now we plate this up. And once again, we have a gourmet meal in just a matter of moments. Bon appetit!